What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be working on my IS300, not Carlo's IS300 like we did in the last video. We have some important news to share with you guys and kind of give you guys a walk around because I was talking to Martin about this yesterday. We haven't made a video specifically on the IS for about over a year, ever since we installed the Ganadors when we first moved into the shop. And I don't know why, probably just because pretty much done exterior wise and the motor I needed to save up on, but let me give you guys a breakdown of what's going on.
A whole year, 1 year ago, 7.7 thousand views. You guys are fucked up.
We should have got more on that video, bro.
At least 7.8.
We have the IS finally in the shop. We have the 1J all stripped down like we've had it, but we actually have the turbo manifold off and a bunch of parts. What we planned on doing for this car was, I almost gave up on the 1J. I did put it up for sale. One of my buddies was gonna buy it. He didn't send me the money yet. He was gonna give it to me in a couple days, and I was planning on going ITBs on the 2J, which is going to be sick. Everything was getting really expensive, especially since I've been dumping a ton of money on the E30. So I thought, you know what? I might as well save a little bit. I'll sell the 1J for today's prices, which obviously are going for like 4,000 plus, and put some ITBs on the IS and go standalone. So I ordered a Link plug-and-play standalone from Panic, which is honestly going to make things so much easier because you can actually run stock clusters, AC, and all that good stuff inside the car. And I was gonna go ITBs from EFI Hardware, which is a company out in Australia. So the moment he said he was gonna buy it, I put the order in for everything. And I called EFI Hardware to confirm the fitment on this motor because this is a VVTi head. They told me that they made a mistake in the description after I ordered it. So they sent me a refund and they canceled my order. So I was left with an $1,800 ECU that still hasn't got here, but I put in the order already and I was like, Jesus, what am I gonna do? So I thought, you know what? I might as well just finish the 1J and put this shit in there. So I told my buddy, hey, scrap the idea, don't send me the money. I'm just gonna keep it and we're gonna get this shit done within a matter of like 2 months. We're not swapping it in just yet, but we're gonna be showing you guys how we're going to be doing it. So it's gonna be very exciting. So right now we have the timing belt kit off because we needed to borrow the Woodruff key, AKA the harmonic balancer key, when we did the timing belt on the 2J, which we did like a month ago. We bought another one and we bought a bunch of goodies and we still have so much coming in. We are going to be getting rid of this 4-bolt wastegate and we're gonna be putting a V-band on it, which is gonna be so much better, but I do have to send it to my buddy Native Engineering to do that. Jeremiah is going to be putting the motor back on top of the center so he can put the timing belt on. So I guess the first thing that I'll show you guys that I was super confused on when it came to these 1J, 2J swaps, or even when turboing your 2J, this ABS module gets in the way of everything because the turbo is going to be sitting right here. That's where the piping goes. So it's going to be a pain in the ass. So you can either spend like $500 on an ABS delete. This is going to be my daily. I really don't want to have to deal with that shit. And I don't want it to get squirmy in the rain. I was looking at the forums like every other guy. A lot of people do an ABS relocation and a battery relocation, especially Matt Chires from Instagram. He actually made a video on it and we're pretty much gonna be doing the same thing he's doing, so props to him because we're gonna show you guys his method. We're relocating the battery in the trunk, super easy, it costs about $50 to do that. And for the ABS module, I did buy a 12-inch 3/16 brake line. I'll show you guys later more in depth how to do that when we have the motor out because it's gonna be so much easier. But we're just going to be relocating the ABS to right here and it's going to fit perfect. I could probably have my buddy weld up a bracket to hold it to make it look a lot better, but that battery is going to be going into the trunk for now, so that's going to be cool. It's going to clean things up and we're not going to have to worry about this in the way because even if we could find a way to keep this around here, the turbo just gets so hot. I went to Lowe's, bought a 2-gauge wire, about 13 feet, which is going to be running all the way to the back. Jeremiah says this is a little too small. I've seen people run it this way, so I don't know if it gets too hot or if we get to the point where it just feels too unsafe. Yeah, it might just be slow cranking. We could probably get a bigger wire later. It's seriously only like 30 bucks for that. We have a Duralast top post battery cable. This we're going to be grounding for the negative side on the strut tower. So this is going to make it a lot easier back there. And then we just have terminal posts. So that's pretty much it for this. Running it through is super easy. There's a harness cable right here. Poke a hole through it, run it through the interior and out to the back. Another issue that you have with 1Js, when it comes to the turbo manifold, these studs tend to be long and hit the manifold itself, and it's kind of a bitch to put the nuts on. Luckily, there's not really that much of an issue on this swap turbo manifold, but just to be safe, I got these shortened factory studs. And I'll leave the part numbers down below, or if you guys want to message me, I can tell you. But these are going to be so good because it's going to replace these rusted out bolts, and we're not going to have issues with any clearances. And then we have some factory lock nuts that we're going to be putting on there. Martin's opening some parts for us that came from Japan because everything is back ordered for this damn 1J because everything's from Japan. What's cool about this is a lot of stuff is plug and play, like even the valve cover gaskets. So we're able to swap things over and not really have that much issues. But stuff like the intake manifold gaskets, the throttle body gaskets start getting more expensive, and they're back ordered. And they're 3-ply, right? Those are factory gaskets.
For what you get for like 80 bucks.
Is this one the wastegate?
Especially if you need
the blow off valve is a 50 millimeter, while the wastegate is 44.
Like, it's nice.
That is really nice. My first time opening all these stuff.
Yeah.
So this is, yeah, I guess this is like a similar comparison to tile if you wanted to go a cheaper route. This thing is going to be sitting right here by the intercooler. So on that piping right here, because that's where it has the most space. That's going to be welded on.
On the blow-off valve. I mean, on the cooler.
Put the blow-off valve on the blow-off valve.
Dual blow-off valve. Roll one on top of the other. Tell him, Jerm.
Tell him, Martin. I spent $240 on 2 radiator hoses from HPS, silicone radiator hoses, specifically made for this 1JZ swap and ISs, or 2JZ GT swaps. And they were back ordered like everything else. And they had red ones in stock, but fucking ugly. I'm not gonna get red ones. So I did a little forearm digging, and you can literally buy a $10 hose meant for this swap. Or not meant, but like fits exactly like the other hoses do. And it's just a 90. So save yourselves like 170 bucks and just buy that. Like, this doesn't have to be as expensive as you think if you just kind of like binge and swap a lot of things over and just be a cheap ass, you know, like me. I always recommend using factory seals. That's something you don't want to mess with. You don't want shit leaking. And for all the seams that you need to put silicone on, I always recommend the good stuff. You can buy this online. This is Toyota FIPG, which is similar to, what's the other brand? Permatex, but this is like the good shit. The best part we've gotten so far, and it's probably the cheapest, is this 3D printed gauge pods that are going to sit in probably the best spot in an IS300.
You have to sand it down and paint it.
Yeah, they recommend sanding it down to get rid of that. Just put really thick primer, they said. I want to fit the gauge pods in there first. I'm going with ProSport Evo gauges. They're 52 millimeters, so it should fit. But we need to fit them in there because sometimes they don't fit as well. So we sand. I don't want to paint it, do all that work, and then have to sand it again. So I'd rather just set it up after. Fits like butter, bro. Look at that.
Does it just sit in there, or does it like...
I'm sure we had to bolt it down somehow.
A double side tape.
Yeah, but
That way you could
it's gonna look really good.
Yeah.
So if you have a cubby version, which is why I got rid of mine, traded my buddy, because I always wanted to put the gauge pod there, and that's the only way you're gonna fit it if you have this style. This looks freaking sick, especially with these stock Altezza seats, because those Bryces over there were killing my back. So I ended up buying these, and so they're actually wagon seats.
That thing's long as fuck.
Yeah, it might be, yeah, you're right. No?
You guys wouldn't know it was long if you
Oh yeah, it is. Look. The difference between these two is crazy. Probably like, I would say what, like half an inch? Which is gonna matter a lot.
Yeah,
when
about
putting
half
on.
inch. I like that. It's upside down. Looks pretty good.
Another one?
There's coolant in here? Well, at least it's lubricated.
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, look at that.
That's some nice fippage, Jeremiah. Putting on the windage tray and then the pickup tube.
Did you say a witness tray?
Windage tray.
Windage. What does it do?
It collects wind. And then
It's
it
like a
trains
baffle,
it.
so like when the oil's splashing around, it doesn't splash around there, like especially when you're doing hard G-force turns. You don't want to have oil starvations or the oil just goes somewhere you don't want it. So this protects it and keeps it right here.
Why
so
are
the
you
pickup
buying
tube
it
can
too
take it.
Why'd you say
See,
G-forces?
what it says. You look at the definition of a windage tray.
We didn't say wind straight. We were talking about pickups.
Talking about everything.
So the pickup tube, that picks up the oil.
Why don't they just call it a baffle tray?
Because we don't like that at Toyota.
Okay.
Oof.
Like a glove.
I don't like the way it's scratched up, Daniel.
I know, I should have painted it
You should have.
candy apple red. Like every slow car here. Now it's starting to look like an actual motor. I ended up painting the throttle body. It's honestly not the best paint job, but it's just something to make it look clean. I'm not trying to go too crazy on it. Later on, if I really wanted to, I can repaint the whole thing. But I was able to paint this coolant pipe, that pipe, and put on new studs and nuts on. You can see that's really nice back here. Now that we have the oil pan on, we're able to add a little bit of oil up top because this engine hasn't had oil in such a long time that I really want to lubricate these cams up a little bit. Just turn the motor a couple times just to kind of get everything a little moisturized. Because
shake your oil first.
startup is just going to be the scariest thing ever. So I just want to be like a little bit, you know.
You ready?
Yeah, just very little on all of them. Oof. There you go. There, you're good. I think we'll be fine with that. I'm kind of not doing full rotations right now. Just kind of going back and forth. You hear that? Slipping through the fucking spark plugs because they're loose. Well, this is where we're gonna leave off motor-wise. I think the only thing we really accomplished today was cleaning up the block, assembling everything the way it's going to be going in the car, and installing the upper and lower oil pan, which is the most important part because that's pretty much the biggest piece to adding oil in it and being able to lubricate everything, get it ready to be thrown in. Aside from that, we have the intake manifold gaskets that we're waiting for with the turbo because I've ordered a bunch of stuff from Drift Motion. The exhaust gaskets can put on now, and I'm starting to see little things that I need to order, like little hoses. But on that note, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share. We'll see you guys on the next one.
No one ever really dies. T threw a rack in the sky. She threw it back from the side. I was just losing my mind. You right here telling me